Hey everyone, and welcome back. Can you believe it's episode 12? A dozen episodes, 10 and 2 of the Always Wolves squadcast. And we're joined again today by the main man, Manny. Hey Manny.
How you doing? Episode 12, that's the same number of players we've got in our squad.
And he's not wearing a fake shirt today either.
Not a fake shirt.
If you're watching on the YouTube channel, the colour is actually proper white. Of course, we're again joined by the lovely Amy, who's in a recent kit today, are we not?
Yeah, I actually stole this off my dad last night. So
she stole it off her dad last night. She's the queen of retro kits, definitely. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Well, so much has happened, has it not, in the last few weeks? Yeah. We've gone from the depths of despair to, oh my God, the first game, to that was rubbish at Stoke, to Man City first half, all the transfers coming in and out. Where to start? Where shall we start, Manny? Where shall we start?
Where shall we start? I think the biggest talking point has been the sale, probably, of Diogo.
It's not Diego.
It's not Diego. Of Diogo. Yeah, I bet some Liverpool fans will be getting that wrong if they ever see him play for their club.
I know. Jota to Liverpool. 45 million. It all started, didn't it, against Stoke last week when he wasn't in the squad. And
strange, wasn't it?
It was being reported he was at the ground and gone home.
He was. He came off the coach on their official Instagram video. He had his mask on. He entered the stadium and then he's legged it. So
you start to think: is he out the side? Has he had a strop?
Yeah.
Is there a personal reason or is there a transfer? And as it turned out, it's a transfer to Liverpool. Have to say, I don't think it doesn't look right to me in red. I don't know what you think.
No,
it's a bit strange.
You just become so attached to the players that play for your club, especially the ones who play when you do well. And he's been a big part of the success. So it is quite shocking to see them in a different shirt. But remember, he was in a different shirt before he came to us. So
how are you feeling about the transfer yourself, Ames?
I'm not as heartbroken as Doherty, not going to lie. But I mean, you can't blame him, to be honest, at the end of the day. If the champions of the world, as they won that tournament last year, come knocking on your door and say that you're interested, you don't turn it down, do you, at the end of the day? And I think Wolves have done some very, very good business because he's good, Jota, sorry. But he, in my opinion, humble opinion, what do I know, is not worth 45 million. So I think Wolves have done some very good business. I'd say he's not worth it just because I think towards last season in particular, he did have quite a lot of consistency issues. When he was good, phenomenal, unplayable, but he had like a few games where he was really, really good and then he just didn't do anything, really frustrating. Against the Villa, that goal when we came back of the season, like some stitches that he should have as a striker put in. So I think I can't myself see where he's going to fit in the Liverpool team. I don't think he'll get many games.
According to form, I think he's going to be more of a backup for their front three. And when they've got some players that go into the African Cup of Nations, I think he might get some starts there. I've got to agree with you. As much as we were disappointed, I think, with the fee for Doherty, I think Liverpool have probably paid £10 million probably over what I thought he would go for at the top end. So I think fantastic business. If you think about it, Doherty and Jota, £13 million bought in for, 60 million, more or less, they've sold them for. It's good business. And as you say, I mean, Manny, he wasn't really starting, was he?
Well, to be fair, people say 17 goals. Jota scored only 7 goals in the league, and he scored them in only 5 matches. So in 29 matches in the Premier League, he didn't contribute any assist or any goal in. And also in Europe, he scored 2 hat-tricks. So they were just 2 matches. He got 6 goals in. So he was a streaky player, and he would come on and he'd excite you. But consistently, let's be honest, Podence has doubled the assist tally in 2 games. He only had 1 assist in the league, did Jota. So if you look at the bare stats, he did have other things to his game. He was tenacious. He was a fighter. He was
very direct.
Very direct. He did cause a lot of havoc, but the end product was missing. And it was interesting to hear that most reports said Nuno had made his mind up in the shortened summer that he was one player that he was prepared to let go. I'm sure Liverpool didn't have Jota on their list. It's just when he becomes available, Liverpool then consider, oh, he's available.
They were looking at that Watford player, wasn't they? Because Wolves, but they went with Jota, because of the terms that they've agreed with them, rather than the upfront payments. That was better for them.
Somebody sort of explained the terms as well, Dave. Like, when you only receive 4 million in the first 12 months, people are saying, oh, well, that's 45, but why are we only getting 4? But actually it works. Liverpool, it works better because they're not committing so much money. For us, it works better because we actually earn some interest on those instalments as well. So, we'll budget for receiving that over the next so many years. And it's as fans make their decisions very quickly and decide that something is right or wrong. But Fosun are an investment company, just like you said, Dave. They've turned around 45 million quid on those 2 players and kept Trell, Adama and Neves.
I don't see that they will sell. I think it was going to be one of net. We said, didn't we, while back, that we would expect to see a couple of first teamers go. Doherty's gone and Jota's gone. I can't see that Neves, Jimenez or Traore will leave in this window. I think they would say, no matter what, they'd say no now because we've sold Jota.
There's been so many rumours, especially about Jimenez. I mean, he's been going to United for the last year. I think if he was going to go, he'd have gone by now. But, there's still a few more weeks. But the way that he started as well, I mean, Jimenez, he scored in his first 2 games. He started and scored in his first 2 games. If he goes to a new club, he's not going to start soon. So I think I'd be surprised if anyone else goes. But I would, if we'd have sat here and done this last week, I wouldn't have said Jota would be going.
No, we didn't see it coming, did we? We didn't see it coming.
We didn't see Jota going either. So, but we said it before, isn't it? You like to set these players a loyalty club, but they're not really. They've got bills to pay. They've got jobs to do. So they just go where they want to do or their agent wants them to go. So
exactly, and I think it's pivotal for Jota. I think it could go one or 2 ways for him at Liverpool. He can either shine, or he could just go. If they get the consistent Jota, but when he doesn't play games, it takes him a while, I think, to get up to speed, and then he goes on purple patches. So I'm not sure how it's going to pan out for Jota. I guess the jury will be out, but we wish him well.
He's 23, and I think he can improve and probably do well with better players around him. But I just think for us, it was just we are a business. Even though we love Wolves, Fosun are a business, and this is the way they work: bring in lots of money and then reinvest in the team. So, you can't fault what they've done so far. The proof will be in the pudding with the players.
What were you going to say, Ames?
Just thank him for everything that he did. I mean, I don't think any of us will ever forget Man United in the quarterfinals or the Leicester 3. So I think for our past years, he's got a big role to play for all of the fans, really. So we obviously wish him luck, and hopefully he won't score against us for Liverpool.
Well, he will. Both him and Doherty, I think, will get a good reception when we're back at Molineux and we're all there. Anyway, I think they will get recognised, and he has, like Manny said, been part of that rise. But I suppose whilst we're on transfers, we'll talk about the other incomings and going. Obviously, we've bought in. I was spending money, 35 million. Fabio Silva, Vitendo,
Vitinha,
that's it. Yeah, he's been bought in, and then we've also got Marseille, and obviously we've got. Is it Semedo?
Yes, yeah.
That could be
Semedo, yeah.
What do we think about those transfers, Manny? First of all, what strikes you?
The 2 Portuguese guys, again, it's a Mendes Porto link. They're very young. They seem like, again, investments by Fosun, looking at very young, very highly rated, Portuguese locals and the Portuguese football fans buzz about them. So they are two players I'm sure they're looking at getting 2, 3, 4 years out and then doubling their amounts to reinvest into the side. That's what I think with those two. Marcel obviously was an experienced, more short-term option to cover for Johnny's injury, and he's come from a Champions League side, played in a Champions League semi-final, vastly experienced straight away in that first game. I know he came off yesterday. I hope it's not too bad, but that first game he impressed everybody. He was solid. Nothing went past him. Sheffield United. If you're going to be tested in the Premier League, it's Sheffield United, and he stood up really well.
Yeah.
But this signing that we've been linked with, that we're all waiting for it to be announced, you would never have imagined Wolverhampton Wanderers signing Barcelona, first teamer that's played 124 times for them in the last 3 years. It's pretty unreal, really, because we've been picking players from Porto and Atletico, and fair enough, but picking a player out of Barcelona's first team, that's a real sign of what Fosun are about. We've had 2 deals recently where we sold to Liverpool and we've bought from Barcelona. That's the top table, isn't it?
It really is. And to be honest, he also was part of the Portugal squad that won the Nations League as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So what about you, Aaron? Which of the players stand out for you that we've bought in?
I think he's just, the reviews, so to speak, on him and him being likened to the new Ronaldo and that he's got potential to be better than Ronaldo. I just think it's really exciting, and I think he'll be one that came on obviously last night for the last 15-20 minutes against City, but I think he'll be one that Nuno kind of holds back a little bit and then just puts into the squad very cautiously for probably a while, but when he gets his confidence and understands how to play in the Premier League a bit more, I think I'm really excited by him. I'm saying to all my mates when I talk about transfers, he's the one that I'm just really looking forward to seeing play. And I think the options that they're getting up front now, we say that Jota's gone, but you've obviously got Jimenez, you've got Podence, who's performing really well, Neto, and now Silva. It's really exciting time, and the fact that they're investing in those younger players and I think is worth like a record transfer fee. Just it shows that it must be worth it really for them to part with that sort of cash. But like Manny said, in terms of Wolves buying first team players from Barcelona, I just struggle to get my head around it really. You told us that 7 years ago, or when we were in the League One. I just needed to start us off to like a mental hospital or something.
Yeah. It is madness. I think Fabio Silva, like you say, he's a young lad. I know a few people have been saying it's a lot of money for an 18-year-old, but Fosun, wouldn't be spending that money if they didn't believe that his value will increase. I think it will be, like you said, used sparingly. It's good to have someone that we haven't, got to run Jimenez into the ground every game, and someone that could come on and he's going to learn. Obviously, he's going to toughen up. The Premier League's a lot faster league, a lot tougher league. I think he's going to need to toughen him up a little bit. I think he will. I think against Stoke, I think maybe he was trying too hard because he was snatching, wasn't he, and stuff. But no doubt we'll come on to that. But we've also got that Hoover guy that we've bought from Liverpool, who's 18. Yeah. And the Liverpool fans on Twitter were really sad to see him go. They were really disappointed. So I think that says a lot about the potential that he has as well.
Yeah, Liverpool have got 2 players at right back, Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's rated as the best right back in place for the country, and then they've got Nico Williams. So they've got such a wealth, but they were devastated, the Liverpool fans, because they've insisted on a sell-on clause in his signing as well, because they know that this guy is going to be, and his interview was interesting because he basically said, like, you'll see a flying Dutchman that play on the right and put crosses in, and that was confidence. It was cocky, and you can't just say that. You've got something about you, and so
he's kind of at the same stage of development. Do you remember when Nuno was in for Zinchenko from City? And we didn't get him. He was kind of similar age, and look where he's gone on to be. So if he follows that sort of route path, the Liverpool fans are seeing something really in for him. I think Semedo is going to be obviously the the most experience. He'll come straight into the side. Hoover can play that as well. I think both. I think he can also play defence. Hoover as well. But I think Marcel can play defence as well when Johnny's fit. Do you think we'll be bringing anyone else in? Because I'm still a little bit nervy about that left-sided centre-back position. I know Saiz was magnificent against Sheffield and the Blades, but again, he shows a little bit of naivety against those real top teams, like the penalty last night.
I would be surprised if we get one more in. I don't know, but I'm probably more the defensive side, I'd say, because I feel like everything else has probably been covered. But I've not heard any rumours as to who that might be. But there's still another 12 days left of the transfer window. So you see how quickly things can turn around. So I wouldn't be surprised with that. But yeah, I agree. It looks like an area that might need to be strengthened a little bit more, or have not strengthened because Saiz is a quality player, but like backup for it almost, and got options for it. But I've not heard anything, but I'm sure that we'll find out in due course.
Do you think Saiz is the answer at that left centre back position, Manny?
You know what? If you go the last 10 games, including just after lockdown, actually, I've had more worries about Willy Bowley than Romain Saiz. He seems to be off the ball, and he has been injured, and players do take time after injury sometimes, and he hasn't been helped because his right back, he's lost his normal right back partner, so he's sort of having to maybe cover for Adama as inexperienced in that position. But Saiz has always got a mistake in him. It seems like he's always got a rash tackle or a challenge, and you know, Kevin De Bruyne, if Kevin De Bruyne is running it it's going to panic most people because he's such a brilliant player. And he wasn't going anywhere. And I think it was any other player, he wouldn't have done it. And it was just he panicked. And once he did, he was committing.
He was trying to anticipate the cross before the cross actually happened, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, you know, Semedo is a done deal, it looks like, and everyone's saying. So Wolves haven't announced all these signings we've had so far. We haven't known about until they've basically been done deals. So maybe there is somebody that we have no inkling about, and they'll bring another person in. And also, depending on if Marcel is injured for 2 or 3 weeks, or you know, maybe they might even bring in an emergency left-sided player as well.
Yeah, so I think as well, Vinagre and Traore going forward are both pretty decent. Both a weak on the defence. I think Vinagre is a bit naive at times. Even when he's attacking, he likes his step over against a real top defender. If you're ever in football, they always tell you keep your eye on the ball, not the feet that's going. And he got picked off a lot of times on the attack last night. So I hope Marcel is not long-term injured, because he's looked really good, I think.
A bit like he was going to fit in well. Do we know? Has anyone had an update on Marcel? Because I didn't.
No, you know what? There was a few rumours that he got an illness. He just said to Nuno that he doesn't feel well rather than injured. So because he wasn't obviously limping or feeling...
No problem.
I thought it was a little so quick as well. I thought it was a little bit...
I don't know. It's strange that there hasn't been any update, to be fair. So hopefully it's not too bad.
I hope not. Yeah, because that would just be our luck when we bought in and he looks really good, and then they might have to dip into the market again. Yeah. Be interesting to see what pans out over the next 10 days. I think even if we stuck where we were now and we kept hold of Jimenez, Traore, Neves and all of that lot, then I'd take that for a transfer.
The dream signing, you know, forget Semedo, the dream signing would be Ruben Dias. We went in for him last year, out of the blue. They quoted something like 60 million. We moved back straight away. But Benfica are in a different position. They've been knocked out of the Champions League. They've been sort of told they need to raise a few funds. And we've had the players we've had come in. It would shock you, but you still wouldn't be that surprised.
Ruben Dias would be quality. And we can also tell him that we've got a nice coloured shirt for him to wear as well, which we will come on to. Look at Ivy's face brightening up a second I mention the shirt. But the biggest signing of the summer, Nuno.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah,
that's the biggest signing, isn't it? Really. I think
that gave everyone so much joy when everyone saw that on social media being announced.
Absolutely. I mean, it's good. It's a 3-year deal. I think it's worth about $4.5 million. I don't think it was ever really in any doubt that would get sorted. Nuno's really invested into the Wolves project. He's talked about us being on a new cycle now, and I think we are on a new cycle because you can see that changing of the guard, and you can also see the fact that he's not played 3-5-2 in the first 2 games. Sheffield, but I was really surprised he went 3-4-3 against City, and I think that tells you, like what you were talking about at the end of last season, Manny, about us wanting and needing more goals.
More goals. He wants to get away, I think, from only playing a counter-attacking way. So if you look at the second half against City, it wasn't counter-attack. We weren't penned in our half and then bursting forward. We actually were on the front foot and we were dictating play for about 20 minutes. So against Sheffield United, the start of the game was similar as well. It wasn't waiting for them to come on and then us breaking. And the signing of Silva and maybe Vitinha in the future, and Pedence, the role he plays across the front 3, you know. And if you think about it, Ruben Neves got him for a shot in the box, and he also went in for a header in the box when he nearly put Jimenez off. When's Ruben Neves ever run into the box for a header?
He doesn't score goals in the box ever.
Yeah, so I do think that's actually a change in attitude where he's saying to Ruben Neves and his players to pick their moments to get more numbers in the box, because we desperately, I think, you know, everyone talks about the defence, but we only conceded 40 goals, so it was only a goal a game. So if you score 2 a game, you've won the match invariably, and we weren't scoring 2 a game. So that's the aim, I think, to get 2 a game would be amazing, but even 10 extra goals this year would be an improvement for us, I think.
100%, because we have lost the goals, 25 goals, Jota and Doherty last year, and so everyone's got to chip in. Here's a question for you. Which one of you can answer this? Who was the best shots for goals ratio in the Wolves squad?
Probably someone obviously obscure. It's not Jimenez, because Jimenez has a lot of shots and he does score goals.
No, it's not Jimenez.
He has like record number of shots, I think, in the Premier League. Shots for goals.
Doherty?
No, not Doherty. It begins with a D. Dendoncker, yeah. He's got the best shots for goals ratio, apparently.
Yeah. He has scored some crucial goals, hasn't he, that have popped up. So.
Well, I think whilst we're on the Man City match, we'll look at that first. I mean, as we've just been talking about, and then we'll sort of work our way backwards. But like the Man City game, I mean, it was the proverbial game of 2 halves, wasn't it? The first half, I thought it was like how many we're going to concede, and then the second half, if we'd have took our chances, unbelievable.
What do you reckon, Amy?
What do you think caused the how we started, Amy?
Coming out and playing like City can play when they can really play, because it wasn't Wolves weren't great, but it wasn't the fact that Wolves were terrible. It was the fact that City were just unbelievable, and in the first half, and I don't think Wolves maybe anticipated to come out and play that way, maybe a little bit naively, but I think they just couldn't get the ball off them. It was so frustrating to watch. They got the ball and then it just went like instantly. Like Martino, I didn't think had a great game last night, and he can usually hold that ball better than anyone on the pitch, regardless of who he's playing against. I think the penalty was obviously completely disappointing and completely unnecessary, as we've kind of discussed already. But even though City were really attacking the box, you never really felt much threat until the penalty.
That was just after Marcel had gone off. I think it unsettled us. I did. And
I think him going off so early, that probably really changed the mindset of the way that they were playing that early on the game. You know, Nagba come on, who we know is a lot more attacking, and I thought that the defence line against City last night was really crucial. So the fact that was kind of altered very quickly, I didn't think helped. But then the second half, it was like watching a completely different team, and you just thought, if the crowd had been there last night,
imagine.
Wolves would have definitely drawn 100%. There's no way if the crowds had been there would have lost.
We had City. They were on the ropes at one point. We were doing to them what they did to us in the first half, and I think it was in about a 10-minute period. We had 4 really good.
Really.
I think you touched on that early, didn't you? Those 4 chances that we had, Manny.
Yeah, well, so, just recapping what Nuno said before the game. He said, we've got to stay in this game. Remember, City came into this game 6 points behind Liverpool. They hadn't played yet, so they're automatically 6 points behind. They were going to come out flying. And when they come out flying, you've just got to just do your job. Don't make any mistakes. Stay in the game, stay in the game, stay in the game. And it seemed like a game plan. And we ruined that game plan by the rash challenge that we made for the penalty. So that put us on the back foot. They scored again, we know. But the second half, those 10, 15 minutes was the best we've played against City, even when we beat them.
Yeah.
Even when we beat them, we didn't have a time of complete dominance. I know we were playing 10 men and we were playing 11 this time. And Pedence will be disappointed with his second in particular as the goalkeeper rushes out. But he had a fantastic game. He had the City defence just didn't know whether to come forward to him. The midfield didn't know whether to, because what City's 2 midfielders do, they press the ball when our defence tries to play it out. So Moutinho and Neves are flooded by them two. Now, what Pedence does, he comes off the defenders. So the two City midfielders, instead of pressing Moutinho and Neves, they were worried about Pedence as well, so they had to drop back. So his role was crucial, and it was his performance. Let's be honest, he could have ended up with 2 goals and assist against Man City.
It's like a pocket rocket, isn't he, Pedence? I mean, moment of the game, we're all going to say this. What was the moment of last night's game?
Oh, yeah,
I was laughing. I was doing a live stream and I was going, it's
everywhere, all over it's gone viral everywhere.
De Bruyne. That was not only did he nutmeg De Bruyne, he then puts in a cross that Raul buries.
Very brilliant header. And that's going to be replayed probably at the City training ground today and tomorrow, and they'll be
ripping it out of him, wouldn't they?
Absolutely, yeah. But the audacity
to run under his legs as well. Carried on.
The audacity to do that to the best player in the country, and then not only that, then he could have run. If that was Jota, I think Diogo would have carried on running and probably lost the ball. But straight away, he realised where the danger was. Put in the most perfect ball. If it was any higher, it wouldn't have been a goal. Any lower, it would have hit the first man. It was perfect, the trajectory. But the header, Jimenez.
What a header.
What a goal. Out of the 4 goals that were scored last night, that was by far the best one.
I reckon it should have counted 3. I do, Amy. That one goal for being the best goal. It was quality. And I don't know what you think, Amy, but I think we can take a lot of positives out of that second half performance.
Yeah. I was really disappointed they conceded the 3rd goal at the end because I thought that was really undeserved, and 3-1 sounds a lot worse than 2-1. I know it's only 1 goal, but they're really unlucky at the end. But it came off, it's flex coded, isn't it? Is what it went, how it went in. But I think to take that, and you've got to think, City for me will win the league this year, because I don't think Liverpool will have as good a season, and City will just come back fighting more than ever. They'll have had the disappointment of last year is not only winning the League Cup, which for them is probably considered quite a failure. And if they play like they did in the first half, I don't think any team, not even Liverpool, could play against them. So I think the fact that Wolves came back, they bounced back. They didn't just come out and...
City were worried, man. They were so worried. And you could see them trying to slow the game down and take the steam out of us. If we just couldn't carry on that momentum. And they managed the game really well in the end, City. And so they got that 3rd goal, which I thought was a bit fortunate. But didn't Patricio play well last night as well?
He made
a big gamekeeper.
First half, he made some really good saves. He was really solid.
That 2-0, that save that he made, was it off De Bruyne? I think it was that save that he made at 2-0. That kept us in the game. That did. I thought I gave Patricio my man of the match. It was close between Pedence and Patricio, but I went with Patricio for keeping us in the game and the saves he's made. Who was yours, Ames?
Probably Podence, I think. I think it was the way that he played in the second half. I think he's just really growing into the team and just growing into the league almost.
He looks the part, doesn't he?
Yes, and I think it makes Jota going more bearable because you think, well, you know, there's a complete replacement and potentially even better with how he's playing at the moment. So, yeah, I think Podence. But again, Rui played really, really well. So.
And you, Manny?
I actually, people might not agree with this. It was very close between Podence and Traore. Why? Because he's put in right back. He's not a right back. In the second half, again, he was the outlet who started it off and ran down and he adapted the way he was playing and he got involved in the game. He laid on a chance on a plate for Raul, which would have been a carbon copy of last year.
Would have been, yeah.
So I think, you know, this is the hope. Semedo coming in and having Traore and Podence around Raul with having Neto in reserve. You know,
Neto's like a mini Jota anyway. I think the way he's got that directness in him.
I love Neto. I think last night we really missed Doherty. If Doherty had played in the right back position,
I agree.
And then Traore could have played further up the field.
Yeah,
it would have been a very, very different game because Traore he can't play in that position.
It's not his fault. It's not his position. He's filling in. But as soon as he pushed on against City and as soon as he went up top against Sheffield United, he looked a different player. He was causing havoc.
He's more confident, isn't he, in that role? So he's going to be.
So we're working our way backwards, aren't we? So on the way, let's finish with a win. So we'll go with Stoke. What a tepid performance that was. And what do you think caused that?
I was more disgusted by that than I've been for a long, long time because one thing that I had in my mind was we could potentially, you know, put a cup on the table and people said, oh, it's only the League Cup, it doesn't matter, it's the only trophy Wolves have won in the last 60 years.
That's right.
74 and 80, it's the only trophy since 1960 that we've won. Can't disrespect it. It's silverware. I don't care if it leads to Europa League or whatever. It was a chance. We basically had Stoke, Gillingham and Villa to the quarter-final. Come on.
It's a big opportunity we've let.
It was horrific. It was like a pre-season friendly that the players had been told about last minute and they all came out and just kicked it about and went back in again.
Stoke had made 7 changes as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we should have won that game without any problem at all, but we never. I mean, we created a couple of opportunities, but nothing massive. Stoke defended valiantly, and they were waiting for a chance. But I was really disappointed with Ruddy with the goal because I feel the whole thing they had an overlap, but Ruddy should have saved it really.
Yeah.
And he ain't gonna get another game now till January, is he?
No.
We shouldn't even be in that. Like I said, we should be battering sides like Stoke 2 or 3-0. They changed their side. They didn't really think they were going to win. That's why they changed their sides. You know, they just come out for a run out themselves. And we were horrific. Yeah, it highlighted his deficiencies with that mistake. But you know, it was just awful from start to finish. The commentary, the bloody coverage that we paid £10 for, horrific. That in 2020, that a cup competition can say, oh, we will stream it for you and have one camera and one commentator. And it was just, you know, very basic stuff.
I've got to admit, I was a bit depressed watching that game for all of the reasons that you've stated above. And the fact that, you know, we win that, we got Gillingham, that's win. Like you said, we could have been in a quarter-final in no time at all and winning a trophy. And you think that Nuno really would like to win a trophy and put pot on the table. I think he was really disappointed. I mean, how did you feel, Ames?
Well, the team that he put out, I saw the team selection. I thought, oh, he's going for it. You know, you'd expect a few changes. You wouldn't expect it to be the first team on a Thursday night against Stoke, considering they've got City on Monday as well. But like, it was just baffling, really. Hands up, I didn't actually watch the game. But
Blossom's made an appearance, by the way.
Yeah, she's finally made it onto this one.
She's there on my shoulder. But yeah, but like I said, when you saw the team, you thought it was going for this because it's an opportunity to win something, isn't it? So the fact the game was awful, the play was awful. There's nothing positive you can take from it, really, is there? They got 90 minutes on the pitch. That's it. That's all you can say.
And it was disappointing. I must admit.
You know what? The only thing I've got to add to it is it's there because there's a reason you changed sides, and I was disappointed it didn't change the side and didn't try Sanderson or Gilman or what, I don't know, whoever was available didn't decide to play these players, because when you play a first team player in a competition that, if you're going to play Man City next, your mentality is going to be heightened. It's like I said, it's like saying to my son, go to the shops in my Ferrari, and the next day I say, you've got to use a Clio today, you know. And it's that type of thing for a top player to raise their mental heightened awareness in that type of match. So sometimes it's better to play the younger players, the hungrier players, because for them it's their cup final and they do raise their game and play so much better. So I think it's just a mental block where they almost decided that it was like a practice match before the City game and get a bit of fitness, have a bit of a run round, and there was nothing. There was no passing, not even any chances.
You could see it happening as well. You could just see that they were going to go and get a goal, and they did. I mean, no, I think Stoke were playing for penalties, but they just took that one chance. It went in, and you could just see it happening. But it's gone now, innit? So maybe we'll go on a run and win the FA Cup this year instead. And I hope, because that's realistically we're not going to win the Premier League this year. So the FA Cup, we should have a good enough time to, hopefully, if we can have the right mental attitude, and I think you'll get them right for the FA Cup run, let's hope. I think if we'd been playing like a Premier League side in the Carabao Cup, we'd have probably played better.
There seems a reliance on you. It seems like all the Premiership managers got together and agreed that for all cup competitions we'll change our goalie. Where does this come from? A goalkeeper doesn't get that tired because he doesn't run around. He stays in his. Patricio had loads of bloody days where he was smoking his cigar on his line last year. He didn't have nothing to do. So why change it? You've got your first team goal, and it just really, you can't just. Well, it's gone.
I don't know whether it gets written into their contracts.
No, I don't.
I think I've got this unwritten agreement that you can play in the cups.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
You've got to be good enough, though. Haven't you?
I'm not sure.
I like Ruddy, but
I love Ruddy.
But let's be honest. You can't make mistakes. That one, the Shrewsbury one. There's other ones as well. When he's come in, he's made a few rickets, and
maybe that's because he's not match sharp. I don't know. But let's go on to something more positive. I mean, like City come out the blocks against us without much of a pre-season, I must admit, I was thinking if we get 2 or 3 points out the first 2 games, I'd be well happy, really, because like going to Blades away, they'd had something like 5 pre-season friendlies. We going in cold with a few days, and we came out with, I think it's the first time in Premier League history that a team in the opening match of the season has scored 2 goals in the first 6 minutes of a season. Yeah, so it's another record that we've got. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And we scored in the first half, in the first 10 minutes.
Twice.
Well, my mum hadn't even realised it started. I screamed at the telly because she was in the other room, and she was like, what's happened? I didn't even know it started. I was like, yeah, it started, scored. That was a good one. And then 4 minutes later, they did it again. And for Wolves, who are the second half team of the league, it was, absolutely mind-blowing, really.
I know, it was good. And they were well-taken goals as well. And for a period in the first half, it was a bit like City versus Wolves. I thought we could go on and score a few more. I think we tired and faded in the second half. And obviously, the Blades got themselves their act more together. But they hit the post, didn't they, at 2-0. And then we hit the post a couple of times as well. It could have been 4-1, but great performance. And it really gave us fans, didn't it, a real positive boost to start the season. It took us to 6 games last season to get 3 points. Did you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, we had with the European games sort of affected us, and we didn't start very well. But again, it seemed that new approach that he's talking about, try and take the game to the opposition and get, first halves are also designed to score goals. Wolves team, and players need to find this out very quickly. It's not a second 45-minute game. It's not a modelling contract for the first 45 minutes. So they, I think that's one key area that got to improve on. Was it 13 goals in the first half last year or something like that? That's not good enough.
Very, very. I think they were like the worst performing team in the first half, or close to it.
Table, yeah. So that's good signs, and again, coupled with obviously the City second half, the signs are good with these players coming in.
Well, it looks as if the preferred formation is going to be 3-4-3 after the first two matches, which is more offensive. And,
what do you reckon, Dave, and Amy, about Moutinho and Neves and the few times where he's brought Dendoncker in and left one of the other two out? We've actually not played Sheffield United with one, but he did it in lockdown a couple of times. And, is that an option where we need to go into that more? And not because obviously they're the glamour players, Moutinho and Neves,
I think
is it a bit like Lampard and Gerrard? Remember Lampard and Gerrard for England?
Didn't
Is it a bit like that, having
I think Dendonker's, under the radar player. Like when I said to you, like he's got the best shots to goals ratio. That says a lot. When he gets into these forward positions, he does tend to score. He's a great little player.
He's got work ethic as well. Dendoncker, he works his absolute socks off whenever he plays, and I just think we go back to the point, and it's the squad's so good that there's options, isn't there? You don't have to play your poster boys or your top men all the time, because there's others that help and do different things. So I think it also shows that the opposition don't know what to expect as well, do they? Because they don't know who's going to start if it's changing it around a bit more. But yeah, I think it was a fantastic performance the first game. But I think Blaze are going to struggle. I think Sheffield United are going to really struggle this year.
Second season syndrome.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah, they did. They've sort of bought players. Chris Wilder's I think he's your favourite manager, isn't he, in the league after Nuno? The way he talks, and he talks so highly of us. But if they bought players from Derby, they bought 2 Derby players. Now, no disrespect to Derby, but you don't shop there if you want to make a step up. I don't think you do. You have to bring quality in, and there's only so much you can do with the players. They're playing at their height last year. So if they drop down a level, they're going to obviously sink. Where we weren't playing at our height to get to 7th. We still think there's so much more to come from our players. So I can see them. I don't think they'll go down.
No, I think
they're tight enough at the back too.
They're a Burnley type team, aren't they? Sheffield United.
Yeah, I don't think they'll go down, but I think they will struggle. I think they'll be more in the mix of things than last year.
Yeah.
So, have you got any questions on Twitter, Manny?
Yeah, Paul Mansell, played tennis with him last week, didn't we, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely guy. He's just talked about European football. Let me just find his question. Obviously, we're not in Europe at the moment. How do you reflect on not being in Europe this season now, with fans not being able to go to games? I'd rather wait and hopefully qualify when there is more normality, allowing us to focus on finishing as high as we can in the league. And I think we covered this in a different podcast. If there's one season to miss, European football for everybody.
I think he's answered his own question, hasn't he, with all our viewpoints on it? So.
Yeah. So
Paul, that's how we feel. We feel the same on that.
I think if you look at it now, if you look at it in the now, we're trying to sign players. We've just playing these matches in the league. If we had now also had qualifying matches to play as well, I think it would have been horrific for Nuno and Jeff and the backroom staff to maybe travel somewhere abroad, and they're trying to sign players. And so it's probably helped us not being in, especially these qualifying matches. Obviously, I'm sure the players might think differently. They would love to play in European football from a fan's point of view. I think we won't miss it this season.
Hopefully we'll get in for next season. I've got a few on Instagram. So Harry B says, can we get all 6 points against Fulham and West Ham?
I don't see why not.
I think that's a big test, isn't it? We love playing in London anyway.
We got that five or six match run against teams. You know, obviously it's not on paper, but you're looking to try and get wins against all the sides. You always get some slip up somewhere. So, you know, that next match, West Ham, with the team we got, if we turn up, we win. If we turn up, we win.
I agree.
Yeah.
M. Keen, 1990, I think he's a Brighton fan, says, now we've lost Jota, do you agree Wolves are a bottom half team unless you sign someone? I think he means sign someone to replace Jota. Maybe doesn't understand the squad, but I'm going to say no to that. I think we're still... it's still
we've got very good replacements that are playing already, so...
Neto, Podence, Silva, Jimenez, Vitinha's like quite an attacking midfield player, Traore. So it was basically he was going to be on the bench most of the season if we'd kept him. Let's be honest. So
that's what the Liverpool fans can't get their heads round. It's like when this went on, I did a thing about Jota on the blog, and then we're like, we've got him, and it's like, yeah, but he wasn't really starting anyway, and he's a bit inconsistent. I hope it works out, and they think they've stole him off us, but I think we chose, I think the decision was, he had the opportunity, but I think if we didn't want to let him go, we wouldn't have let him go. Nuno,
for him to get better, I think he needed this move. You know, sometimes players do just.
You said it earlier. He'll go one of two ways at Liverpool, won't he? He'll either thrive or he'll be a Jarvis and he'll just trying to fall back.
And end up somewhere else.
Gillingham in about 4 years' time.
Is a good name. Says, will we sign Alex Chamberlain from Liverpool?
No. I don't think it's just paper talk. Don't see him as a Nuno type player personally. He's injured at the moment. Anyway, injury record's horrendous as well. You know, he is actually a prime Oxlade-Chamberlain, a prime, fit, and the way he was when Liverpool signed him. Bloody hell, you bite. Anybody's hands off to sign him because he is very, very good attacking player.
He's a great player.
So there is that. That's a few fans have said, "Oh, fit, a fit one," but if he's not fit, then he's no good.
No,
so,
exactly. I don't think so either. Personally,
no.
I don't think so either. I think it's been an interesting few weeks. I think the next 10 days are going to be interesting. Keeping hold of what we got, maybe. If we can sneak in for Manny, Ruben Diaz, that would be kind of nice.
Oh,
Manny would be out partying.
We'll be breaking that 6 rule everywhere, Boris.
And we have to finish, don't we? Because on the last podcast, we talked about the second kit and the third kit, Portugal Wanderers. People call us that. We've now got a Portugal third strip. And it's breaking all box office records for strips. In fact, Amy has dumped the second kit who she was getting into a new relationship with, and she was going to get it. She dropped that kit for the new kit, haven't you, Amy?
I have. Well, I said I was going to order the new one, the away one, and then I thought, I'll just hold fire for a little bit. I'll wait till it's in the shop and just make my mind up. And then they dropped the Portugal kit last week, and how can you say no to that beauty? So pre-ordered it because I was worried it was going to sell out as they were putting on social media. And I will get the away one when it's cheap, but I'm not.
You've gone back to the old plan and getting it when it's reduced down.
Yeah, but I've actually bought the first kit full price, which I've not done for years. So it's just stunning, isn't it? It's gorgeous.
It'll be in the club shop, I think, mid-October. From what I gather, and they have got, I think they're expecting big sales. They've got thousands that they will sell, and it's
my credit cards took a bashing because we bought 4 of them.
Yeah,
for my son, my wife.
You got an away match and you're wearing it. Do you have to get?
You know what? I got married in that colour, so I've got the turban already. I'll have to pull it out the loft. I've got that same colour turban already. So no, my wife came to me and she goes, I want that shirt. I said, you've only been to 6 matches in 8 years. You can't have it. So even she's got one.
I think my dad's buying it from my mum as well because she loves that colour. And
it's a lovely colour. Yeah,
it's a colour that
it's a colour that Wolves probably will never have again. Let's be honest, and they've probably never had in the past. I can't remember a red and white kit. I remember a red and white one.
Portuguese players running out onto the pitch in that, and if they play like Portugal, that would be amazing. Someone did a cartoon where they're basically saying, "Come on, Ronaldo." Did you see that cartoon?
Brilliant.
Actually, see Ronaldo in that shirt.
Yeah.
You know, when he's the last. He's the last bit of the jigsaw when we're going for the Premier League. We'll bring in Ronaldo and everything. But
it was a brilliant marketing ploy, obviously, with all the Portuguese players. It's worked straight away with the record number of sales, you know, and clubs need revenue, even big ones. So everything they do behind the scenes.
Outselling the first kit, you know.
Yeah, outselling everything. So, you know, it'll be probably the best-selling kit.
I feel sorry for the away kit, to be honest. I feel bad for it.
It's the forgotten.
It's been done. It's totally been forgotten, hasn't it? It's like
no one's gonna.
You know, I think the shirt sales were fairly slow anyway. They've basically come to a stop. They'll be just giving it away on the streets next.
Trading it in for the third kit now. Yeah. Well, that's leaving on a positive. You know, looking forward to the next few games. Hopefully, you know, when we come back for the next podcast. We'll have a real good indication of where the squad sits and where we're starting to pan out in the season. I don't think you get a true reflection on the league table until you get to about 10, 15 games anyway.
Yeah.
We've got, you know...
Early November is when it starts. Well, this year it will start.
I mean, the biggest date will be October the 5th. And when we finish October the 5th and Jim White has said, transfer window closed, you know, on Sky Sports News, and Nuno, Raul, Adama and Neves are still at our club. That's the touch the wood thing. Those four were our biggest assets, and don't underestimate the, you know, keeping those four big.
And I think if we do that, I think the team will be stronger than last year in terms of what I agree. Got in. And if we do sneak in Ruben Diaz through the back door for Manny, can you imagine?
You can stay. I've got a room. You can stay in if he wants, you know.
He will. He come and help on the
free samosas for life, Ruben Diaz. If you come, free samosas for life. I'll feed you.
Fantastic. Well, thanks everyone for listening again today, and all. If you're listening on the iOS or on your Android, leave us a rating and some comments on there. And if you're watching it on the YouTube channel on the live premiere, then obviously leave comments as well on that one as well. And we all read them all, so appreciate that. Amy, what's your socials?
Just Instagram, so it's Amy Hads on Instagram.
She's not got onto Twitter yet.
We'll get it.
And Manny?
Yeah, it's at Pedalsing Twitter, mainly I use. And just want to do a shout out. I'm doing October the 4th, the virtual London Marathon. I'm trekking the Yorkshire Three Peaks, 26 miles, day and night. It'll probably take me about 12 hours. So sponsor me. I'll go on my link on at Pedalsing, and if you can spare $1 or two. Yeah.
Fantastic. And you can get me. It's just Dazzling Dave on socials and YouTube, and Always Wolves on Facebook. Again, thanks everyone. Until the next one.
Yeah.
Always Wolves.
Always Wolves.
Always Wolves.